Hello, Fantasticus community. We have a special guest. I mean, what guests aren't special? But you
I
know
know.
what?
This one's special.
We are welcoming Sydney Jersak. Did I say that right?
Very good, very good.
Fair enough.
Close enough.
Yeah, it
And
works.
welcome to our podcast and our show here. And we're very excited to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited to be on. Haven't done too many podcasts, but every time I do them, it's always a fun time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know us in the Europlatus and Fantasticus community. We're just coming up there and becoming mainstream here.
Oh yeah, get the uncommon geckos known.
That's
I
right.
know.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
No. Now, the wonderful thing, the reason why I'm very excited to speak with you is because of where you live and the conditions that you are fanting under. Perhaps share with the wonderful audience here, where is it you live and what kind of environmental conditions are you creating a fant paradise in?
Yeah, so I am from Alberta, Canada, which is kind of right in the middle of Canada,
hmm
so landlocked, very much so. As far as temperature goes, I would say our humidity or our temperature in the winter goes from about negative 50 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit, but very cold.
Very
In the
cold.
in the summer, 35 to or plus 35 to 40. But as far as humidity goes, there is very, very little. Like I would say in the winter, humidity is maybe 20% outside, like 15 to 20%. And then right now, kind of getting into summer, I'm sitting at like 42 in my game/gecko room.
hmm
All right. So you've got to import humidity. I see.
Yeah. Full time. Yeah. Luckily, it's not CITES, so
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right. Well, as all of us Fant keepers know, Fants like it cool and humid.
yeah.
And what does it take to create cool and humid where
Where
you
you're
are?
at. Yeah.
The cool in for 3 quarters of the year, the cool portion's pretty easy because if it's minus 40 outside, I can kind of dictate what I can have in the house. I think usually I try to keep this room, or I guess the house in general, at around 73 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which usually
hmm
works out. In the summer, sometimes it gets a little warmer, but I do have a fan in here just because it's cold or warm temperature and fans terrifies me. So
hmm
I try to keep that 72 to 74 is kind of my sweet spot as far as temperature
Yeah.
goes.
That's very good.
So I haven't had any issues as far as temperature goes in that range. So I was like, if it broke, don't fix it. So I don't try to go above that very much. I know some people I've talked to down in the States are like, oh, 76, and I'm like, "Ugh, that's a
I know. I get a little.
It makes me nervous.
I
yeah.
know.
That's where I start
Whatever.
to like, yeah, maybe not.
Well, now humidity. Let's talk about
Yeah.
how you hydrate your fans, what kind of equipment you use, and your strategy for that.
Yeah. So best thing I have purchased for my collection is a Mist King. It
Yeah.
is absolute lifesaver. I usually it goes off about in the winter. Like I give them a kind of a natural drier period in the winter, kind of to
hmm
follow our seasons here. So it probably goes off 2 or 3 times a day. In the summer, when I kind of increase the humidity, I would say 4 to 5 times a day, and kind of a little
hmm
bit longer, um, like misting sessions. As far as humidity during the day, I kind of like that 40 to 50% drop, but at night I'll go right up to 95 to
hmm
97% humidity just to give them that really high nighttime. I
Okay.
think yeah, that's where it worked for me. Luckily as far as shedding issues go, I don't really have any, so I was like, well, I think that's and kind of looking at the Madagascar kind of as how they swing because I know they could sometimes people never believe me that sometimes it drops to like 50 Fahrenheit down there.
Oh, yeah, it
hmm
gets
It gets cold.
chilly.
It's chilly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when you start to get to where the fans are,
Yeah.
with a little bit of elevation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get kind of cold.
Yeah. So as far as that, yeah, like temperature, no really big worries here. Kind of the like I said, the warmth. We don't get a ton of super hot weather, so temperature is easy to maintain. But humidity is definitely a bit more challenging. But
hmm
with the Mist King, it's a lifesaver. I've had this
Good.
misting now for 6 years now,
Okay.
and it's yeah, like it goes off like I said, 4 to 5 times a day right now. At night is kind of that 1.5 minute kind of that heavy mist,
Hmm.
and then a bunch of shorter ones just to kind of space it out.
Okay, so you have a constant misting going off throughout the day and the night.
Yeah. Otherwise, I found that it drops like really fast. I used to
Yeah.
have I used to, like I know Mist King because with there I have the advanced, the biggest one, and I know that well when you buy one, it comes with the hydrometer that's like built into the timer, so it goes off based on a specific humidity that you set. But I had to get rid of that because I found if I set it to 80 or like 80% at night, it just wouldn't shut off because it wouldn't hit that for more than a minute, and then as soon as it
Mhm.
stopped, it would just tank again. So I
Yeah.
got the regular timer and I kind of watch it. I have a little app with one of those little Govee thermometer hygrometer
Hmm.
things just hanging around, and it's been super accurate. I can kind of check what my um like my daily drops and my nighttime increases are, and so far yeah, no issues on that end, luckily.
Okay.
Very good.
So what type cages are you using to hold in that humidity?
Yeah, so I use exoterras, which aren't great as far as holding humidity. Like they have a lot of ventilation, which is good at the same time because there isn't stagnant humidity and stagnant air just kind of hanging around. It
Hmm.
does definitely dry them out faster, which is why I think I have that kind of continuous those misting periods throughout the day. And sometimes in the summer, if I want to hold it in, I had got one of those. I know Zoomed released one of those little silicone mats that you can put on the top of their tanks, but the Exoterra lids are pretty much the same. So sometimes I cover half of the Exo with that little silicone, and
Hmm.
then that tends to hold it in a little bit, especially when I want to get them out of that winter cool to kind of get them in breeding season mode in like March. So that seems to kind of hold in a little bit better than just having an open top.
Yeah, you really have some adjustments for where you're at. I just couldn't
Yeah.
believe how dry it is over there.
Oh yeah, it's
You
very
really got
dry.
to
Yeah.
work
So,
it. Everybody has their own little tweaks.
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
so lucky now.
Yeah. I know. Or sometimes when I talk to some other people I know in the States, they're like, "Oh yeah, 70% is kind of my humidity today," and I was like, "Oh, it must be nice."
I
Yeah.
know. I should check it right now.
Yeah, I've got so my Fant lives in this cage back here.
Yeah, you got the paradise for the Fant.
Oh yeah, and my little princess,
Oh
and
yes.
uh, and so this is a solid for those who can't see, and then this is the screen down here, and
Mhm.
so I get that chimney effect, which is great, except when I need more humidity retention in there, I actually block this thing off.
Mhm.
But then I got to remember during the day to remove it, or else it keeps all the heat as well, and
Mhm.
we don't want that.
By the way, it's only 28% here, and that's pretty low for
Oh
us.
yeah. Okay.
I'm like, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
So, what was the biggest challenge you would say of when you were setting things up? And we all run into this thing where, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this, and but you get over it. Would
Yeah.
you have a story like that?
Um, I know I started like as far as reptiles in general go. I started pretty early. It was like I didn't have a lot of money, so I started with new cows, which
Uh-huh.
obviously are way different.
Yeah.
And I know, so I got Mossies, so I got Cichore first, and then I got Fantasticus.
Mhm.
I think getting the Cichore first helped big time because they're a much hardier Europlatus, for my opinion, in my experience.
Mhm.
And so I think kind of going into fans, I didn't have too many unknowns per se. I know that
Mhm.
the UV was a little bit because I want to get a low kind of UV because they don't get a ton of it, but at the same time have enough that it can get through the mesh on the exos as well as a little bit through the ficus. So I had a little bit of adjusting like which strength to use. I tried Arcadia, I tried Zoomed. Now I settled on the new Exoterra T5 line.
Hmm?
I found
Mm.
that
Fabulous.
I really like the Spectrum, and they kind of they're a bit higher output than some of the other ones, but they're still 3%, which is the one that UVB 100 that I use. So I think the UV was definitely the biggest thing because I know coming from New Cows, it's getting better, but most people in New Cows don't use UV. So coming into leaf tails, I knew that it was very important, and then I learned as I went just how important it was when breeding females all of a sudden show signs that they don't have enough of something.
Okay. So let's piggyback off of that
Yeah.
and say your experience with other Eurypletus. If somebody is experienced with, say, the more common Socore or even the Ebenawi, what are some differences that they will have to take into account when they move to fans?
I definitely the fans like it cooler. I just in
Yeah.
general they do better if it's a little bit cooler. I pretty much keep everyone the same, but I
Mhm.
definitely tailor it like as far as temperature goes anyway. But I definitely tailor it more to the fans because I found that they will not adapt as well as some of
They
the other
don't
species.
tolerate it as
No.
like the other Eurypletus.
Yeah, like my
Oh
mossies,
yeah.
it's yeah, like they're fine. My cork barks, they're all fine now. But yeah, the Fantasticus definitely. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna see what you like, and then we'll micro adjust if I need to.
Okay.
Because
They're
yeah,
the
they're
ones that you
definitely
got to work around. Hey.
yeah, and they're definitely the ones that I know that they can go downhill very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have I don't know if we call it an advantage, but we are only Fantasticus here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of Eurypletus before she took over and became fans only here.
Mm.
But our I live in a Fant environmentally controlled area. In fact, the chameleons I keep in here, I've had to change the species that I keep so they match the area that the Fants come from because of the
Oh yeah.
environmental
Yeah.
conditions.
The hoity-toity fans.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah. Well, you have some very amazing fans, so I will say
Oh, you
that.
do too, friend.
Now, you mentioned UVB. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I would like to discuss with you what you have figured out as far as the balance between UVB and supplementation that includes vitamin D3. And I know this is something that we're all trying to figure
Yeah.
out. What have you worked with?
Yeah, so as like for UVB, I regardless of what anyone says, I always change the bulbs every 12 months just to make sure that
Mhm.
it's nice. And like I know in the past it's been 6 months, but I found the Arcadia and now the Exoterra, they are good for the actual 12 months. Um, I think like personally, I think I have a little bit it's how do I say this? It's kind of it's very something I've done in the past for other things. So I because even for kind of my education, so I had a degree in biology and I'm a vet student, so I have access to a lot of different tools, like talking to people and even helping people that I've kind of like in the vet. I don't see a lot of Europlatus obviously in vet med,
Mhm.
but I've definitely seen where people they have UVB and then they also have either just a regular calcium which still has a fairly high D3 content
Mhm.
and yeah it gets too much and then they get overdosed on D3 and then that's also obviously not a good thing. So then
Mhm.
it's like you got to stop supplementing but then there's blood work and that costs quite a bit.
Mhm.
Not even like with leaf tails but in reptiles in general I think I've done
Mhm.
some blood work and it's it's something I wanted to do for some of mine just to kind of get a baseline because I'm like, you know
Mhm.
what? It'd be kind of cool to see what your values are. So that's something I kind of want to do in the future just to get an idea. But I definitely moved to the I've used I've used Arcadia and I've used Repashy supplements. So I've used the Earth Pro line in the past. I still
Mhm.
found that it was the D3 anyway was a little bit high concentration. So I actually moved to the Repashy, the Calcium Plus Low D,
Mhm.
and I've so far I really like it. I've been using it for a couple months now, and I really like
Yeah,
it.
I
And
found
then
too.
yeah, and then I supplement the Supervite, which has D3, but I only do that probably I want to say twice a month, just to kind of give them, especially when they're laying, just to give them a little bit
Mhm.
extra. But I
Mhm.
find unless like when they're not laying, I maybe once a month I do D3.
Do you measure UV index? Or do you have a target?
Not overly. Like I kind of the way I do it, I let the plants kind of grow fairly bushy, and that way they
Mhm.
kind of have these natural areas that they can kind of find. Some are more open, and even kind of when I go in and trim it, I leave some parts really bushy that the light doesn't really go through, just so that they can get away from it. And then some parts
Mhm.
up near the top, near the canopies of I use ficus benjaminas in all of my fantasticus enclosures. So I trim
Yeah.
off kind of half of it so that it is exposed to light, and then and I leave the other half so that they can kind of get away under the leaves. And so far that's worked for me. um
I like that. Yeah.
I don't have a UV meter yet. I've been meaning to get one, but it's for whatever reason they're harder to find in Canada.
Mhm. Well, I've had, of course, I'm working with larger enclosures, and so I get different husbandry with the larger enclosures. And I mean, the one thing I've been working with is UVB exposure. Generally, I go with low UVB exposure, but my girl back there, she's never out during the day. During the
Yeah.
night, yeah, she's all over the place. And so the question, of course, the open question here. Sorry, everybody, I don't have final answers here, or even
Yeah.
close to. Is how much is the UVB really helping here, or is it just the
Mhm.
dietary D3 that I give her? So, uh, working on it. We'll let you all
Yeah.
know when I figure anything out.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like.
Yeah, definitely.
Go
No,
ahead.
sorry. I definitely want to do some testing and maybe have one that gets more and one gets UV, and then see if I can get different values. So maybe something in the future.
Yeah, the thing is, when we were using a smaller cage, the fan really couldn't get away from the UVB. Obviously, we put like UV index of 1 at the top, so it's,
Hmm.
yeah, they're going to get away from it. It's just
Yeah.
going to be so weak, and so they have the choice. But in a large enclosure, they don't have to see the light of day at all.
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
But
that's why I wanted to get them kind of. So right now I keep like individuals in 12 by 12 by 18s. I've like so far I haven't had any issues in it in years. I wanted to switch the 8 to the 12 by 12 by 24s just to give them a little bit more height, and then the old Exoterras got discontinued, and I was very sad.
Yeah.
So for now, we'll see how we do. But I have, yeah, one some like during the breeding season, I put the male into the female's enclosure,
Right.
but usually I don't have to leave him in there for more than a few weeks unless he's being stubborn or she's being stubborn, and then I
Yeah. Kind of
usually
sounds like me.
and
I love it.
then I separate them if they do nothing for like 4 weeks, and then I try again after, or I switch males.
Right.
okay.
But yeah, so far, like, I guess everything, different things that will work for different people. Obviously, different locations, like you said, different enclosure sizes. Obviously,
Mhm.
and as far as kind of what I've done in the 12 by 18s, and even with my bigger species in the 18/18/24s and
Mhm.
18/18/36s,
Mhm.
I haven't had any issues thus far. So I'm pretty content for now with what I'm
Mhm.
doing, and eventually I'm sure I'll change something. But
Yeah. Hey, I have a question too about the putting the male in with the female.
mhm.
I started doing that. Um, Now, is there a reason why you do it? I have a reason why I do it, but I was just curious if,
I do
um,
it because, in my opinion, I feel like the female, she'll undergo more stress than the male. Usually the males, they that's kind of their sole purpose. When you
exactly.
look at their biology, it's kind of what they do. So
Yeah,
I put him in her enclosure so that when she's laying, she feels less stressed because it's her environment.
right. I I'll just share some experiences. I don't have numbers, but I know that when I was in the beginning, I was taking the female and putting it, her in the male's enclosure because that's his enclosure and he's gonna rule the house and he's gonna do she's gonna do what he says. But I found that removing her, whether she's actually gravid or just carrying duds, it was traumatic for her. And a lot
Hmm.
of times I would, well, many times, enough times, she would convulse or get really agitated. And so after a few times, actually, I just said, no, I got to move the female over to her enclosure, no matter what. So I, that was my experience. So that's why I decided to put the male into her enclosure. So I was experiencing that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've experienced them like do that from like getting scared by something. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I've never had any, yeah, just removing them. That's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sure a lot of the females, still would like, that's fine. But
Hmm.
after just few experiences, I decided, nah, traumatic enough for her. She's got to go through a lot. So
She does, yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to ask the question of calcium sacs. Uh, this,
Yeah.
of course, is our wonderful, great mystery in the some geckos world, and in the wild, no calcium sacs. I can't find
No.
anybody who has ever seen a wild Fantasticus with calcium sacs, and so we're here trying to minimize any calcium sacs, but it's still really difficult to figure out when they show up and when they go down. And we have a lot of hypotheses as to what
mm-hmm.
causes them and how they go down. But when I take a look at and follow each one of those thoughts through, there's just nothing consistent that I can say,
Yeah,
yeah, this is it.
I don't have
Yeah.
any consistent.
And so, what
Yeah.
are your experiences? Open question here.
Open
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, so obviously I see a lot of fans like in other like in with other kind of breeders and stuff, and they have massive calcium sacs. For me, I for me that kind of worries me a little bit.
Mhm.
Just because like then again, like like do you give more, or when do they how much are they going to decrease when they lay? Kind of the way I look at it, I like to like see a very slight little bump there. I have
Right.
found that females where I see at least just like a very slight rounding at the base of the neck there, they usually they kind of bounced right back after they eat or after they
Mhm.
lay, sorry.
Mhm.
And then I've definitely had in the past females that have nothing, where even where they lay duds, like I wasn't even expecting it. They weren't bred, they were young, so I wasn't upping their calcium intake per se. But then they lay
Mhm.
duds and immediately started showing signs of calcium crash because I didn't expect them to use up that much in laying, which I found I've actually had that with other species as well, namely one of my
Mhm.
cork barks. I'm going through a little bit of a thing with her right now because like she had visible calcium sacs, and then she laid, and she just had to have dumped everything into those eggs because within a couple of days she started having kind of trouble climbing and like tremors.
Mhm.
So usually with that, yeah, tremors, at least for me, that's kind of the first sign up calcium. And so yeah, now she's getting injectable calcium, and I do have that for everybody. I personally keep that on hand. I spoke with a few exotic vets
Mhm.
down in the States, and they said having some calcium gluconate on hand is always kind of a good idea, especially during the breeding season in
Mhm.
case that happens. Because I've scoured, my university papers, other university
Mhm.
libraries, Google Scholar, and I can't find there's nothing, right? So
I know.
we're kind of evolving together how as far as information goes. But I kind of try to aim for that visible bulge, but not to the point where it looks like it's got two ping pong balls at the base of her neck.
Right.
And you've noticed a direct relationship between the calcium sacs and laying the eggs?
I don't want to say direct, but I've definitely noticed a difference that females that have slightly larger calcium sacs, they recover much faster.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they'll even lay eggs sooner for their next clutch because
Mhm.
honestly, I don't know if it's just my females, maybe your experience is like this too, but I can breed a female once and then she'll give me like 8 clutches without being paired again.
Yeah. I didn't take notice of any, the sacks, changing sizes or anything
Mhm.
like that, but I've definitely had females where you breed them once and they just keep going. So
Yeah, I definitely noticed a slight. You have to look very close, and I think it's more visible if they're just slightly there, because then
Mhm.
when she lays, I do find that they deflate,
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen
which
that
would
too.
make sense. Yeah,
Okay, we
but I
can pay
think
attention to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I think I talked to a few other people, and even Jack, and I think they actually do need more calcium than I think people give them credit for. So
Hmm.
I think because obviously their eggs are fully calcified, right? So I think they definitely should have kind of a tailored calcium intake to Europlatus. So
Hmm.
hopefully over time that's something that people can kind of understand better, because I think it's definitely uh, yeah, from my experience anyway, it's definitely key to get them to recover, and that's why I have that calcium gluconate on hand, because if I notice that she has tremors, if she's struggling to climb, that's like kind of my sign. Okay, you need a boost, and usually with that boost, within a few days, she's back to normal.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had fans with the sacks, without the sacks, and haven't noticed a difference in their egg
Hmm.
laying or the
Okay.
calcification of the eggs. And oh, well, you know
Yeah,
what? If we knew everything,
I
then there'd be
know.
nothing more to do.
Some people freak
there'd be
out
no
if they have
fun.
little sacks, and I'm like, it's okay. They're gonna,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah, and
know.
I think in the end the key is just make sure that their dietary intake, like their supplements, are correct, because obviously some females will store more in those sacs than others, because obviously in the end blood calcium is really the most important, because that's the usable part of it.
Hmm.
And so I'm sure there's going to be, variation between individuals anyway. So
I bet you're learning a whole lot at vet school.
yes, there's
And
a yeah.
congratulations, by the way.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah, there's a
yeah,
pharmacology is quite the class.
yeah.
Well, actually, let's ask about that because I don't know much about you and your vet schooling. What is going on?
Yeah, so I finished my first year of vet school, so I have a few months off, which is very nice.
Mhm.
Not, 14 to 18-hour days staring
Oh my
into
goodness.
a textbook. Um, I haven't quite decided where I want to focus. I know I definitely want to do exotics and reptiles, but I haven't quite decided if I want to get board certified in reptiles, or do reptiles and even some small mammals, or just to go become a surgeon. The only thing with the surgery part is it's another 5 years after
Oh,
my
wow.
8 years, and I'd probably have to go down to the States to do it, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but the
Oh, you have a
logistic.
lot of friends down here.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. I got a few years to decide on that.
Yeah. Well, he'll
Okay.
get to meet a lot of people if he's in
Yeah, I
California.
know. I've been. I know everyone's trying to get me to like go to Tinley, and I'm like, man, I really want to go to Tinley, so I'm gonna have to come down sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what is the Europlatus or the Fant community in particular like in Canada?
It is very, very scarce.
Mhm.
I know in the past, I know Dion was the big,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
fantasticest guy in the past. That was he got out of that probably 10 or 15 years ago. I like to
Mhm.
think that I kind of pulled him back in the recent years,
Yay.
because now he has some leaf tails again. No Fantasticus, but he does have a few species now, so that's always
Hmm.
nice to see. I know he enjoys them a lot, and I watched a lot of his videos when I was first getting
Same.
into it, so that always is good. But as far as yeah, like as far as serious hobbyists, like obviously I sell a lot of my offspring within
Hmm.
Canada, but I think a lot of that is just someone wants a really nice showpiece animal in their
Hmm.
reptile room, or just they want like they have a variety of reptiles, and that's just one they've had on their bucket list. Because I
Hmm.
mean, if you see their little devil horns and their
Hmm.
Oh my
tails,
gosh, I know. I just get Twitter
who
pitted.
doesn't want that, right?
That's
I
right.
know.
So, but other as far as breeders go, as Western Canada, I am
Mhm.
pretty much the only one. Like as far as breeders go, I've sold some around here, and I still
Mhm.
know and I get photos and updates from some of my customers here.
Yeah, that's so
But
fun too.
yeah, it's always nice to see how things grow out and change color too.
Yeah.
And I know down in Atlantic Canada, there's one gentleman, Neil Meister. He's been doing this for more longer than I've been alive, but he does Europlatus in general,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, and then Dion, and then I had a few other buddies in Ontario, and they kind of got in, and then life took them somewhere else, so they got
Right.
out. But yeah, there's really not a lot. Pretty much all of my animals are from Europe. I import from either Germany or actually 4 of my cork barks are from Czech Republic, from the homeland.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and then sometimes I still have some of my like original wild caughts.
Right.
But yeah,
I have a lot
otherwise,
of those too.
unfortunately, CITES makes it expensive to get from the
Mhm.
States.
Boy, you're really dedicated because I didn't realize how difficult it is to, get them. So,
Yeah, because
and
even
I'm
I've
sitting there
had,
going, I know I want to release some of the wild caught that I have because you know, I have enough to keep me going for a while, and
yeah,
be nice to
yeah,
let him go.
Want to send to Canada?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah. I
has
think
anybody from the States sent to you or I
I
don't
not sent to me. I've sent a bunch down.
Yeah.
It's honestly like it's easier with Europlatus than I find other species because obviously like when we kind of trade, I've traded like between breeders and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I think when it gets to us, because unfortunately, shipping is, I think it's
A lot.
650 USD for CITES and freight. So that's on top
Yeah.
of the animal.
That's from Canada to the States. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
from
saying?
Canada to the States. Yeah.
Whoa.
So it makes, well, right
That's
now, yeah,
yeah.
like right
That's
now
a
the,
risk.
it
So,
is, yeah. And like you guys kind of get I mean, we kind of get the short end of the stick, and if we when we're buying because of the conversion. But like
mhm.
I've sold some stuff down to the States, and here it's like the prices here of the kind of leaf tails in general, but Fantasticus kind of, let's just say in this one, when you convert that down to the States, it's like it's an absolute steal in USD. So then the
Right.
shipping
Oh,
kind of
wow.
makes sense because
Right.
I'm shipping down a cork bark to one of my exotic vet buddies down in I think he's in Houston. Don't quote me on that. But but yeah, like when you get the conversion, it's about the same, if not cheaper, to get him from me than the market value of them down in the States.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I
Okay.
get it. So, I get it.
So yeah, so
Wow.
it makes sense for those kinds of things, but it's easier when you can get multiple people on a shipment because then they can split that 650 USD.
All right. So, Sydney,
That'd be so cool.
question looking to the future. What are your hopes and dreams? What would you like to see in the Fantasticus community or in your personal involvement with your Platus?
I there's a lot I wish I could do, but I'm telling myself I can't make terrible decisions while I'm in school.
Right. You've got a big
uh,
thing going on, and that is so
yeah,
cool. You're gonna be
yeah,
such a valuable in your,
Mhm.
the
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got a real cool thing going on there.
yeah,
yeah.
you
So
do.
like right now my shelf is a little bit maxed out, but I if I like the cork barks were like the holy grail for me.
Yeah.
And then
Ugh,
and then I got them and then I was like, well, okay, well what now?"
I know, like, what
I
did I
got
just
them.
do?
Yeah. I really want I know it's kind of in the past, so I've actually was going through some groups and even talking to the Neil down in Nova Scotia, he
Mhm.
said he has some Fantasticus that they're visibly much larger. And he said
Hmm,
that they don't seem to breed with some of his other ones. So he was saying that he believes it could be some sort of a different locality. But I
oh
know
my
in the
goodness.
past, I know I've had people. I
The
don't know how to
fear?
pronounce. No, because
I'm just
Fierce,
trying to
because there's another one. It's a the last time I've seen one in Canada was probably 10 years ago.
okay.
It's like, is it Finny Havana? Is that how you pronounce that one?
Fivana,
We
I know
can
what
look
you're
it
saying.
up.
I know the
Yeah, yeah, but they look very, very similar. Same
Yeah.
tail. They're not an ebb. So like the Fieras, the ebbs, they look kind of their little tails, and then the Fantasticus and the I think they're Finiavanas. They look very, very similar, but the fans are a little bit smaller. So in the past, I know they've come in as Fantasticus, and now what knowing what kind of more we know as far as um I don't know necessarily if you look at their membrane in their mouth like with other species,
Mhm.
but might be something to kind of maybe look
Huh.
into down the road.
Yeah.
I just Googled it, and yes, they look so close.
Hmm.
Except their tails seem to be a little bit smaller.
I
Well,
think they're
maybe I'm
smaller and a
looking at
bit
something else.
broader. I think if I'm not mistaken, are they a bit
Um,
broader, the tails?
maybe that I'm looking at the wrong one. Huh.
Well, again, right?
You know, Google
So
sometimes can be
yeah,
helpful. Sometimes it's
and
just not.
yeah, and I think a lot of people like we don't even really know. I know just recently when they recategorized the Garamasso from just being called like a Henkelized locality, right?
Mhm.
So I think there's definitely things in Fantasticus that we are to be uncovered as far as like DNA and genetics goes and like
Mhm.
differences, and I think that's pretty exciting because I'm a genetics nerd. But
Ooh, cool. I like
I
that.
think, yeah, I think that's definitely something. I would, as far as my personal collection, I would love to get Giganteus, but I
Yeah.
would probably have to convert this entire shelf into two Giganteus enclosures.
Yes. Give them some
So,
Take
space.
the space.
yeah, I was like, where do I put two by fours? So
Oh yeah.
that's a future problem after I graduate.
Yeah, you've got a lot of great stuff to help you along the journey. Heck
Yes,
yeah.
I can't say I'm never bored. I do, even at the end of the day, it was like, oh, I get to go feed and watch everyone eat.
Yes.
Um,
Like
So
after
yeah,
we're done, I got to do the other half of all my feeding and stuff. So,
because how
yeah.
big is your collection? Would you say?
Uh, well, a woman never tells
Okay.
her age and how many geckos she has. I do not know, but I probably a lot.
Okay.
I'll tell
That
you
that.
on a personal level later.
we
So,
have an agreement that we don't ask each other how many
do we
chameleons
count
slash
babies?
geckos
Yeah.
we have, and so we don't have to tell each other if
Fair
we don't
enough.
know. So
Yeah, I
Fair
kind of keep
enough.
it vague, but I have a big I have a collection that'll keep me busy for a while. So let's just
Yeah,
say that.
it's a very nice collection. I'm very jealous of some of them.
I need a vacation. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, trying to go on vacation with these guys sometimes, it's the worst thing ever. I have to
I'd
find
love to
someone who,
visit all my Canadian Europlatus
yeah,
friends and maybe hit a reptile show over there. But right now,
yeah.
there's not a lot of people who can take care of what I'm doing. So,
Oh, yeah, me too. I go away
mhm.
for a week and I'm like, who do I find that can mist and
And
do
of
things?
course, if we all lived close,
Yeah,
hop on over.
yeah, right. Easy peasy.
Yeah,
so, all right, well, that is the questions I have, and
good.
we'll wrap this up. Is any last words for our Fant community? Other than they're awesome, you can say
They
they're awesome,
are
and that's it.
They are awesome. Yeah, I think.
always
As,
learning, right?
oh yeah, always. I think. Yeah, it's only gonna increase. Like any field of research is only increasing. But I think this, since there's so little known about it, they're so elusive in the wild, as I'm sure you can attest to, trying to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's just going to be more kind of breakthroughs in the future, and I think that's really exciting to kind of better our care to match their natural
Mm-hmm.
needs. Because I always like to get as close as possible I can to their natural needs, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a very important with any species. But I have found that with Europlatus especially, they do so much better when you mimic their natural environment as
Mm-hmm.
best as you can.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the key. Do live plants, and yeah, just I mean enjoy it, and
Mm-hmm.
then yeah,
I learn a lot.
learn a lot.
Learn a lot about all kinds of things. So anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Sydney, thank you very much for joining
Thank you,
us.
Sydney. It was so
Yeah,
good
And
thanks for having me. It
we'll
was a
see you in
great
the
little
night
chat.
forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.